Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Greg here, and today with me I have Michael Kallio and James WilderHancock, and they're going to be talking about their new venture into this crazy world of B movies with rednecks versus aliens and everything they got planned. So, how are you guys doing? What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hi.
Out there in YouTube land.
YouTube land.
It's
a weird place. So, how do you guys come up with the idea with rednecks versus aliens?
Over to you, Kallio.
Yes, Michael.
You know, it started as a disgruntled filmmaker, myself, and my buddy Dave Borowitz, who is a fellow actor who also moved out to Los Angeles around the same time I did back in like the early 2000s. We were trying to come up with an idea that we could do on the cheap, make a movie on the cheap, but we also didn't have any money to make a movie at all. So we're like, how can we raise money? And I used to do special effects and prosthetics and makeup and things like that. And he made the comment of like, let's make something we can sell that no one's making, that people will buy, that will use the money to make a movie. And we came up with mounted alien heads, like a deer head, but like, you know, a mounted gray on a piece of wood. And I thought, wow, that's a great idea.
What if going down as a perk, by the way? Writing that down right now. Writing that down as a perk.
Well, it's been done now. Like there are companies that have done it. So, but we could mount whatever creature we get on a board. But yeah, that's how it started. So we were gonna make these things, and I was like, I live in a shitty apartment in North Hollywood. I don't have a studio space, so it never happened. But the idea flourished, and we were like, oh, it can be part found footage and part narrative, or maybe we could do the whole thing as a found footage movie. Needless to say, nothing ever happened with it, and it was kind of an idea I've had for a while prior. But that's really the genesis of it, is the stupid prop that never happened.
And that's all came from there. And so you've entered into like a new, like a film era that you want to usher in here with B movies and with this, and you're setting up a crowdfunding for this, right? So you guys want to talk a little bit about how that's all going to play out for everybody?
Over to you, James.
Hopefully it'll play out really, really well for everyone. That's the plan. Yeah, as we were Mike and I have been developing projects for a long time, and this is one of them. And as we started talking to our friends, distributors and whatnot, and sort of narrowing down what to do, we narrowed in on this project just because it seemed like it had a good balance of the kind of creative stuff that we want to do and having marketability. But the issue is always coming up with the money, and when you're in that process of developing a package and trying to put financing together, there's a lot of moving parts, and it can get extremely complicated, and it's sort of like having a flimsy basket and you're trying to put all these pieces into it, and invariably you'll have most of it together, and then as you get the last piece, then something will fall out. It's a never-ending struggle. And having done that for 15 plus years, I finally decided, even though I was entirely against it, but up until the time that I decided that it was something that was worth looking into, I decided crowdfunding might be something worth looking into. So as I researched it, I discovered, like in most things, success is it's a matter of doing the proper research and doing the prep, and there are steps that are involved to make a project successful.
Yeah.
So once I figured out I could get a handle on it, I decided that it might be a good thing to do, and then I just had to drag Mike into it, kicking and screaming. And that's kind of how that all came together. It still is, it's a whole new field for me. So I'm learning as we go along in this process. So if there's anybody out there that knows anything about this, feel free to reach out.
Yes.
I'm in constant learning mode. But you know, it's been an interesting process.
Yeah, I've talked to a few directors and stuff that have done Indiegogo and crowdfunding and stuff like that. You know, I don't know how to do it myself. I wish I could help you guys with that. Other than sharing out your links and helping people become aware of you guys. That's how I'm usually good at this stuff. But I'm really fascinated with this because I love like old school B movies and stuff. And like I was just telling you guys, I just learned about you guys doing Michael there doing Dinner Leatherface, which I'm really excited about to see, by the way.
Cool,
and the deal with A24 and stuff. And so now you guys seem like filmmakers right up my alley because you guys are like, that's the movies I love. So what really got you into like movies and B movies and all this type of stuff to get to this point?
Well, I mean, I like a lot of filmmakers. You know, I saw, especially in my generation, I saw Star Wars when I was 6, and it was a life. It changed my life. My mom was always like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And it was always a filmmaker. I think maybe for a week I wanted to be an artist, which I like to draw and paint and things, and did that stuff later in life with special effects and that. But I think there may be in a couple days I wanted to be a firefighter, and like a day I wanted to be an astronaut. But after I saw Star Wars, I was like, I want to make movies. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
So and just consuming movies from 6 till, you know, I'm 30 years old now. I'm a young I'm 29 and a half.
You don't look a day over 25.
Well, hey, from your lips to God's ears, and flattery will get you everywhere. So yeah, just my consumption of movies, and I gravitated towards genre stuff. I like the old school. I watched a lot of old school stuff just on television as a kid on Channel 20 or Channel 50, the 2 UHF channels in my hometown, which, you know, always had creature features or some sort of midnight movie thing going. Sir Graves Ghastly, Count Scary. Those were a couple of our horror hosts. But it was really just like the all-consuming brain I had of like watching all kinds of movies.
Yeah. And
I just it never ends. And I got hooked on Ray Harryhausen really early.
Nice, yes.
And stop motion really early because I saw a making of Star Wars or something on TV. My first movie was a stop motion. It was probably about 15 or 20 seconds long. I didn't have a tripod. I was 6. My grandma's camera, because I've used my grandma's Super 8 camera, didn't have a single frame button on it. So I locked my arm with these clay figures in front of my arm and the camera, and I just went beep as fast as I could. And it's an awful movie, but you get to see, like, you know, it. And I have several. I just found actually maybe 3 or 4 other. I didn't get a tripod for a while. 3 or 4 other attempts at stop motion sans tripod on some home movies that were family movies that I did not remember. I just got them back. I've been archiving all my family's old home movies. I just got them back like within the last couple of weeks. And these gems of pure awfulness where I was like, oh my God, I don't remember shooting this. And damn it, I needed to get a tripod a long time ago. But, yeah, that's how I got into movies. I just started making them.
That's some special features for the Blu-ray right there.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
The filmmakers' previous films. That's a great special feature. I would dig that. I would love to watch those. I'm very, very much similar to me. That's how I grew up. I grew up watching old movies, you know, from the Universal Monsters. That was always my my favorites. Star Wars, of course, when I saw the kid, changed my world. The Monster Squad and was really got me to it, and then of course Freddy Krueger and Evil Dead. They were like that got me into it, and I love those old 50s like sci-fi movies. I just watched what was it? It Came from Outer Space, I believe it was, on 4K. It looks beautiful. Great movie. So I love hearing this, because this is very similar to like what I like to cover and what I grew up on myself.
Well, if you get bored later on after this,
you know what?
I'm gonna let you talk in a minute. You just hold on a second. Go to Tubi and watch Mutant Swinger from Mars.
Okay.
It's my 50s sci-fi spoof.
Oh, nice.
It's my love letter to those movies.
Nice.
It also happens to have the actual real acting debut of Jack White.
No. Well,
Cold Mountain. Cool. The Cold Mountain was released first because they had money.
Yeah.
Mutant Swinger from Mars, though, is his acting debut. He was in a movie in Detroit called Rosary Murders, but he was just an altar boy. He didn't have any lines.
No.
So that's technically his acting debut, but he didn't have any lines. But Mutant Swinger from Mars, Jack White has lines and does funny crap.
You beat Cold Mountain. That's all that matters, right?
I did. James, how did you get involved in this?
Yeah, James.
Well, it's funny because it was a conversation, just listening to you guys reminded me of a conversation that sort of pushed me over the edge, that got me to go for crowdfunding. But in answer to the question, though, what got me started, it's ditto. It's like the same thing with everyone. Like, I grew up with 70s TV, so it was reruns of all those old movies, all the Universal stuff I saw repeatedly. I knew them all verbatim by the time I graduated high school, because I was a latchkey kid, so I watched all of that stuff. But then, sort of flash forward and having this conversation about this film and the kind of films that we want to do. That's what made me decide crowdfunding is the way to go, because it's the way to connect to an audience.
Yes.
And with the way that it's the antithesis of what I see going on with the studios, which is all disconnecting from the audience and trying to do whatever the suits deem we should be wanting, but nobody wants. So this is in part our answer to that, in part our way of trying to continue to work through all of the challenges that are hitting Hollywood. It's a confluence of a lot of things, but ultimately it comes down to the realization that there's so many of us out there who are craving this kind of, just fun entertainment of a certain bent. We certainly have a flavor or a band of flavors that we like. But and that again sort of leads me to what, sort of focusing on genre. It's like, this is the stuff I grew up with. This is the stuff that I love. This is the stuff that when I watch, I'm not thinking about anything else other than just getting lost, just escaping into whatever this world is. And it's the stuff that I grew up wanting to make eventually. So now we have the chance to do it. And
we're gonna.
And the timing, everything else is working out pretty well as far as timing goes. So business-wise, market-wise, all of that.
Not everything has to be CGI. Like, that's the big thing I think Hollywood shoves down our throat, is all this new technology, AI being a huge, huge talking point especially as of late. But people made movies without CGI or AI. Yeah. For many years before all of this technology had been shoved in our face.
Yep.
And I like the old school way. And you can take the old school way and enhance with CGI if you need to.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think that's why we're calling ourselves Modern Classic Pictures, because we're not like, oh, screw CGI. We're not going to do that crap. But I like building models. I mean, I got into model building because of my love for movies. I got into doing special effects because of my love for movies like that tactile. I think the tactile, uh, all of the tactile arts that are involved in making a genre movie, building spaceships or models or dinosaurs or whatever. I think it's super important to, you say people say they put their heart and soul into a project. Well, they really put their heart and soul into a project. The technology, I think, takes some of that away.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm a big fan of practical effects. I love the practical effects, and I love the and I mean, not huge on CGI, but yeah, the CGI can have its benefits, especially if you need to hide a seam here or something there, blend it in there. That's fine. I mean, yeah, that's a company's. It's a tool to accompany the practical effects that helps it. And I dig that.
That and the fact that like CGI is good for stuff that is impossible, but you know what? I can't think of anything that's ever been done that hasn't been. Well, example: Peter Jackson made the Lord of the Rings films. Were those films pretty impossible, unfilmable to do back, in 1975? They would have been much tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But how much practical did he use? He used as much practical as he could, and then with the huge battles, those were CGI. But the fact that there was practical things and things that were tactile and things that were built and made, and you see them up close and often, I think that really helped. And look at the Hobbit movies. They relied a lot on CGI in the Hobbit trilogy, and it wasn't as effective.
That's true. That's true. That is very true. He did. There is something about that with Peter Jackson and even James Cameron now, where they've gone way did like DNR and just like 60 frames per second stuff. It's like, no, you're losing the essence of film here.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is about that.
I don't want to. I don't want to see a battle scene that looks like a PBS play shot on video.
Right.
Right.
And
it doesn't make it realistic. It actually takes away.
It does.
Because movies are an escape. It's escapism. Everyone knows that. You go to the movie. You pay your $90 to get your popcorn and your candy and your movie ticket, and you sit and you escape. You shut your brain off, or whatever you do when you watch a movie. That I know a lot of that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the Marvel movies. I know people are bitching about certain ones. Actually, I haven't seen them all at this point because I stopped watching them after people started bitching. Because I would have probably felt the same way. But I appreciate CG. I appreciate the big pop tentpole movies, but I just feel like Hollywood's gone out of control.
Yes, I agree.
There were two projects, one I worked on and one I saw in the theater that informed my philosophy around CG. The first one was when my first stop motion movie was Coraline, and I was a gaffer on that. And watching the shots that we did pre and post effects, especially with that one, because that was really the only one out of all of them so far that did that approach. Everything is practical because it was Henry Selick, and he is very much everything. Same thing with Wendell and Wild. Everything as practical as possible, and then if we need to, I mean, even like the garden, like the Otherworld garden and all that kind of stuff could have been done CG and was explored CG, but he was always, if it can be done practical, do it practically. And the movie was so much better for it. And then later on, I went and saw Attack the Block, and those demon dogs in there were, when I discovered that they were practical with just the barest enhancement of CG for like blackening out fur and eyes. I think even the mouths were practical. But I saw that and I'm like, that's the way it should be done. Like that to me is a mix. It's a believable enough to me, and it still has the organic feeling of an actor doing the performance. So it feels like a living thing. It doesn't feel like a perfect, weirdly robotic tracking from A to B kind of thing. And of course, you know, animators have gotten much better in that world, but you know, Mike and I are gonna always, we're gonna defend it to our death, just because that's where we grew up, and that's what where we loved, and you know, I got to watch a Gene, I think it was on Paranorman, where we had Brian Van Holt, BVH, who won an Oscar for his work on King Kong, who, just watching him do practical effects, old school, like tank work and explosions and things, that that again was like, here we are in the middle of this digital age where we're 3D printing our puppets, our puppet faces, and we have all of this amazing technology, but he's like on this one stage, like doing ink in a tank to get a cloud.
Right.
I'm like, well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I love that. I love that. I love that there's like guys like you out there that are still, you know, championing this and stuff. You know, I'm a big champion here on my channel of independent films and independent creators and stuff, because I do think there's an opportunity here, and there's like you said, there's a hunger and there's a fan base out there that wants genre films, that wants some practical effects, wants to have escapism back in, or maybe are a little tired of the tentpole franchises and stuff because they've worn on, or they've become the things that we hate now, or you know, whatever. So I love hearing this from you guys, and I love that you guys are ready to get into these type of movies, because I think that we need more movies like this. I really do, because it's getting harder and harder to find the variety of these type of movies like we grew up on. Well, I mean, some of them are out there, but yeah, go ahead.
I think you're going to see a resurgence of it, because I feel like we're not the only ones that are starting to recognize this and to put this out. Because it, you know, like you say, there are a lot of us, and those of us that make it as well, also want to see these things. So hopefully it means there'll be more. And the other thing about this that I love is, if you think about it, the behind the scenes stories, the making of stories that are fun, that you really enjoy, are all around practical effects, or some explosion, or something practical that was done on set. The dullest part of the behind the scenes stuff is when they're at a computer, you know, showing you armatures and how they put skin on it and how they did the hair. It's like, yeah, that's great. Can we get back to how they made that guy fly through the air completely practical, like Jackie Chan style, without him getting killed?
Yeah. Right. I agree with that. Big time.
That, and you know, with Hollywood just making, again, back to the Marvel movies, how many times do we need to save the world?
Exactly.
Oh no, the world's in jeopardy. Well, you know, turn on the news.
I'm writing a script with the world in jeopardy.
Well, so you and everyone else. But like, well, that's why I preferred the first Ant-Man, because it was a heist movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't overblown, and they didn't have to save the world. It was just like, we got to get this thing and get it back. Right. You know, I think people are hungry for these kinds of genre films, because they've gone away. They're not spectacle, because Hollywood's hyping up CGI and all these huge, you know, $300 million movies, and you don't need $300 movies to make a movie, do you, Godzilla?
Yeah, right. Godzilla -1. It was even less than $15 million, they said.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could
25 hours in a day.
Yeah, 25 hours. Yeah.
And I know he was using visual effects, but again, you can do visual effects without spending, you know, $200 million on it. You know, he had a small team of people, and I know they don't want to do that again for that kind of money. And I appreciate that, because I just made a $9,000 horror movie, And I had a guy come back and go, "Want to make another one?" And I was like, "No, I did that already. Not going to do it again. It was hard enough the first time." But I think that there's a hunger for them, and I think that it's being more cost effective, and this is still show business, and a lot of these huge movies are just tanking. So why not give the opportunity plus originality? Originality. There needs to be a comeback with originality, because there's no originality in Hollywood anymore. I feel.
I mean, the open secret, which isn't even a secret anymore, is that the writers now that are writing these things don't know what they're doing, because their story is not first for them.
No.
And I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think we all know what's going on, and it's not been good for the business.
No. I mean, story and character is afterthought anymore.
Yeah.
Even if thought of at all. So
it's not, and it's like it's also with the social media. It's like, how many? Let's put someone in it with 100,000 followers on TikTok. It's like, can they act? No. What do they do on TikTok? They dance around and mouth other people's stuff? No. That's not an actor. That's someone who they can make their TikToks, figure something else out for them, but don't start putting them in Hollywood movies.
Right.
I was almost I was talking to a producer years ago who was like, "Okay, I've got this influencer." And I went, out of here. I ain't going to do your movie. I have no interest in working with someone who has, 300,000 followers on Instagram. I just don't care, because if they suck at acting, the movie's going to be bad.
I was going to say, unless they're good. I mean, if they're good, I don't care how many followers. They can have 1 million followers. I'm okay.
That's fine, but this person was not good.
But they got to be good.
Well, I don't have that many followers on Instagram, and I don't do TikTok. But I am making little documentaries here on my channel, so
nice.
I do that. Yeah. I got one in the works. Speaking of independent films, called why independent films are important. So I got a couple directors on that talking about from Trauma and from Full Moon and stuff. So
oh boy,
yeah, I'm a big fan of Full Moon. I love Full Moon Pictures.
I did 2 of their. I'm sorry, I worked on 3 of their movies. Where's my fingers? There they are. 3 of their movies.
Nice.
All right.
And 2 of them were voiceovers. I did voices on Corona Zombies.
Nice.
And I did voices on the next one, the Tiger King one.
Oh yeah.
And I helped do practical special effects on Ginger Dead Man 2.
Oh, nice.
Because there were so many unanswered questions from the first one.
That's Full Moon, man.
That nobody was asking.
Yeah, nobody was asking for answers for.
I love that Charlie still got that thing going.
Yeah, I do.
Charlie's kicking that stuff out, man.
Yeah.
I was there were 3 things that I wanted to do when I got to Hollywood, when I moved here. I did my first picture in Oregon, and then I was invited to come down and work on The Immortals, my first big Hollywood picture. And but there were 3 things that I wanted to do, and one of them was to work on Corman pictures.
Oh, nice.
And so I went through about 1.5 years at the School of Corman, working on a few pictures. Which now I hear
how many did you make working with Corman? Like 312. I worked on 311 movies working for Corman in a span of 6 months.
Oh, I love Roger.
It's possible. It's possible to do. Don't doubt it.
Well, it's not possible. It's technically not possible. He just makes it happen.
He's good that way. He's good that
Sleep be damned.
Always wanted to be in one of those like Roger Corman, Charles Band movie where you die with the big-breasted woman laying on top of you. So I was
Don't we all, Greg? Don't we all?
It's what a way to go, right?
It's very true.
Yeah. But let's I don't know. I think we got off track here. But let's talk about Rednecks versus Aliens and the crowdfunding. What do you guys got? Because I know you guys set it up. So what do you guys got planned for, like, you know, how you're going to film it, Blu-ray, perk, whatever, however you guys are going to do all that?
James?
Well. We're still working out. We're still we have a long pre-production, so which is our saving grace. So I prefer to do a lot of planning before we go into it. So the same thing with the crowdfunding thing. We're still 2 months away from 2.5 months away from launching the campaign. So still putting that together. As far as shooting, we've signed, actually, if you go, hopefully there'll be a link, but you can go to our pre-launch page and you can see who the team is. But we have our cinematographer down there, our cinematographer, Eric Adkins, who shot Sky Captain, and a bunch of other stuff. Most recently, Marcel with the Shell.
Oh, nice.
Marcel the Shell with shoes on. He was responsible for the stop motion animation for that. So he's our and he also did stuff for Mars Attacks, which is one of my favorite of his credits because I love that movie. So he's our cinematographer. We're still having conversations about how we're going to shoot it because we're still reworking the script. We're still early stages with all that kind of stuff. But pretty sure we're gonna shoot it digitally. We haven't talked about which cameras yet. And a lot of it's going to depend on kind of how much we raise. You know, the plan is to do a low ask and a high hope. So
yeah,
if our first goal, our stated goal is going to be 100,000. 100,000 will greenlight our short film, which we could shoot as a part of the larger project, but also use it to continue to raise funds to get to that goal. 500,000 will greenlight the feature film itself. So at 500,000, we'll be ready to rock and roll, and we could be shooting as early as September, probably, with the goal of getting it turned around by the end of the year. But and of course, you know, along the way, there are steps that we can make. We have a relationship with a distributor that makes other options possible once we make our first goal. So we'll see how that shakes out once that happens. It'll trigger a number of things that we can't really talk about yet. But so that's why we're kind of do it in stages that way. So at least at 100,000, it triggers us to get to the point where we're pretty sure it's going to get made. But another thing that makes this attractive for me is when you go through the equity model or loans or anything like that, finishing the project's only half the battle, because then you have to figure out how to make your money back for all your investors. And this way it front loads that so that all of our investors, our backers, our fans, it's our audience. And we front load all their rewards. So by the time the project's done, or very nearly near the time it's done, certainly by the time it's through post, they're all taken care of. And then it's just a matter of where can we go to then make enough money to roll on to the next one. Because our ultimate goal is then to maybe crowdfund our first 2 or 3, but eventually get to a point where we're doing a mixture of crowdfunding and equity funding, similar to like what Legion M or Angel Studios, or there's a few models out there now that are doing it. You know, we feel like it's high time that another one jumps in there and starts getting it done. So we're going to start at, like, you know, sub $1 million projects, and then eventually work our way up to those big Godzilla numbers. And between the two of us, we've already got like over 30 projects in various stages of development. So we're not hurting for material. So it's just a matter of getting the machine up and running and then pumping out product. I'm excited to get to the point where we start getting feedback from our backers and seeing what they have to contribute to the thing, because that's another thing, is like the filmmaking by its very nature is collaborative, unless you're Phil Tippett, and even he didn't do that movie all by himself. It's a collaborative effort, and I like the idea of seeing what a larger group can bring to the project. Just as far as ideas and you know, because again, we're all fans, we're all inspired by the same stuff. So yeah, the whole process kind of excites and inspires me. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it shakes out.
I will do everything I can to help out with you guys with this interview and everything. My reach may not be long, but it's powerful.
But it's mighty.
It's mighty. I know.
Tell all your friends and go. The thing that will help us out the most at this stage, for at least for the next couple months before we launch the campaign, is getting people to go to the pre-launch page and put their email in to sign up for updates. And it'll also unlock. I'm thinking like the first 100 or 150 people that sign up, it'll unlock an early bird status. So there'll be a few extras for the folks that are the early adopters to the redneck alien way.
I'm interested, because I really hope you guys get this going, because like you said, there's time for you to get another studio out there like your guys to make these type of genre films and everything. You know, you guys you got like a plethora to go from like B movies like your Rednecks vs. Aliens to horror movies to dramas, whatever comes to your mind, you know. And what's the synopsis for Rednecks vs. Aliens again? What do you guys?
You want to read your synopsis? It's basically. It says it all. The title says it all.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
It's well, I'll tell you what it is for me.
There you go.
It's my homage to Ghostbusters. It's my homage to War of the Worlds. It's my homage to a lot of those B movies, the aliens coming to Earth and causing a ruckus, and you know, and sometimes, you know, you get probed one too many times. You gotta take care of business. You know,
I like that.
Redneck's taking care of business. I like the fact that it. I don't want to give too much away, but it's sort of a what if from the original War of the Worlds. So right. In this case, it's a what if they came across rednecks instead of, well, in the book, it all happens in England outside of London. But instead of coming across farmers and you know, gentlefolk, what if it were, you know, a bunch of uppity rednecks?
Yeah, good old boys.
Those good old boys.
Exactly. They TCB all day.
Exactly.
Yeah, take care of business, man.
when they're not monster trucking.
Yeah, you gotta have them with the hats and the beers and the cutoff sleeves and the chicks and the Daisy Dukes and fighting off aliens. That's hell yeah, man.
I'm prepping for my cameo.
The big beards, yeah, definitely.
My cameo.
Well, if there's a spot in there for a guy to die with a big breasted woman on top of him, I'm down for that one.
I think
we could make that a stretch goal. We could definitely make that a stretch goal.
There you go. But I love hearing this. Seriously, I do love hearing this, because I love knowing that there are still people like you guys out there that see the need and want for this for us. Because I basically have pretty much shut out all that stuff in Hollywood lately, like streaming and big budget movies. I haven't watched hardly any of that shit in like 2-3 years. I've been buying physical media. I've been buying like Blu-rays, 4Ks. That's like what I'm all about. And I just keep going back to like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s finding like I just ordered Impulse, the William Shatner movie Impulse from Grindhouse Releasing. I haven't got it yet. I'm waiting on it. Like I'm waiting to watch that movie. So like that's like I'm loving that stuff. That's where I'm at right now.
My From Beyond from Vinegar Syndrome came about 2 hours ago.
That movie. That's awesome.
Tell you, I've been in this business. I've been making films for 30 years now, 25 in stop motion animation. And the reason I got into it was to produce. It just so happens that I was really good at gripping, and
you are good at holding stuff.
In college I was doing theatrical lighting, so lighting was not that difficult for me. So I kind of slid into that.
Good, and you put stuff down good.
So I slid into that, but ultimately it was to produce films, which I produced one so far. This will be my second one finally. But it was about after it's 2020, 2021, after a couple months of like going through all of my subscriptions and not being able to find anything new that I wanted to watch. And like then trying to decide, well, what have I seen before that I want to watch again? And just realizing I'm watching all the old stuff again. That sort of kicked me into gear and said, oh yeah, I should be producing. Like this is what I should be making. Because there's obviously not enough of it out there, because if it's not satiating my moderate urges, I know there are people out there that are much more insatiable than I am, and it's up to us. It's up to us to feed their souls with the good genre stuff.
Yeah. You're not watching the copious amounts of British baking shows on a little platform called Netflix.
When I found myself watching a British baking show, that's when it put me over the edge.
That's when you started to cry, and we're like, "Oh, what have I become?"
If one of these cakes doesn't open up and start eating these bakers, I'm switching channels right now.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that stuff in years. I gave that up. I just physical media, man. That's where I find all like my genre films now. You know,
I'm trying to figure out the last time I watched flicks. I don't even follow a show on there.
Yeah.
I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and my physical media.
There you go. I mean, like I literally just did a video where it's like the top shows on all the streaming networks are old shows. None of the new shows are the top shows. It's everybody's watching the old shows. So it's like, so what's the point of having? I mean, what? Who cares by that point?
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So this is, and like we keep saying, we want new stuff and stuff, and I like old stuff. That's I tend to live in the old stuff when I watch it, but I want new stuff. I want new stuff to go with, it came from outer space or that go with From Beyond. So I like hearing that you guys want to make movies like that.
And there are still people doing it. Joe Lynch just did a movie called Suitable Flesh.
Yes, I just watched that. Awesome movie.
Awesome movie. Very reminiscent of, and pays huge homages to the Brian Yuzna, Stuart Gordon, Reanimator, From Beyond, all their Lovecraft stuff that they dabbled in.
Yeah.
And it's a decent movie, and it wasn't a $250 million movie. I think if Hollywood is smart, yeah, I know, right? When they get their shit together, how about that? There needs to be the gray area again. It can't be, because I've made a handful of micro budget movies lately, and making movies in general is hard. Making movies without any money is very hard. It's rewarding because I usually don't get bothered, and they like, here's $4, go. But there's issues with $250 million movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, movies are hard to make. They're a difficult art form because you're dealing with collaboration, and unfortunately, when you're dealing with $250 million or budgets like that, there are 35 people all contradicting each other into what's good and what's bad.
Right.
And I think we need to get in a gray area again, or in a revolution of indie film again, like we had in the late 60s, early 70s, where people would give you money and leave you alone.
Right.
Let you make your movie. Let you fail on your own. But I know it's a business. People have to make their money back. But there needs to be some compromise, because it's like
crowdfund.
Right. This 10 grand or 100 million.
It's the only way you can do it now is to
crowdfund,
so that we have control.
I still think that some smart, again, but there's got to be someone out there, a handful of people.
No, you know what they become smart is they become smart when we prove that it's possible.
Right.
So as soon as we do it, they will come up with the brilliant idea, oh, we should be investing in these guys and doing these movies.
Well, so we already did it. Fine. We did it in the 60s and 70s.
We'll do it the first time. We'll own it. We won't have to answer to anybody's notes other than our fan base, other than our backers, which at least they get the genre. Because really out of those 35 people in those giant studio pictures, of the 35, probably 5 of them have any idea of what they're doing and what they're talking about when they give notes. The rest of them are just mouthing off because they feel like if they don't, then their job's in jeopardy. So,
well, it also goes down to greed too, because the higher ups are pocketing larger sums of money.
And they're not creative people. They're people from Sony. They're people. These are executives who make business decisions. They're not making creative decisions.
I just think that there needs to be a renaissance within the system, as well as outside of the system, because we need that gray area back.
It'll happen again when we prove it. And actually, I was just
back in the 70s and 80s.
I just heard from a friend who came back from the European film market and was talking about how there is this year and next year there will be a vacuum of product.
I got that.
for even theatrical films. So you're probably going to see more independent film in theaters just because there's not going to be that much product coming out from the bigger studios to fill those.
Everyone's laying everyone off.
So there's a better chance that you're going to see Rednecks versus Aliens in a theater near you than any other year recently.
Well, also, the places like Vidiots. You're in Ohio, you said, Greg?
Yes.
You know about Vidiots?
I've heard of them.
So Vidiots was a video store that was in Santa Monica for thousands of years. Well, a long time, not thousands.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating a bit. They closed in, I think, 2017, but they put everything in storage. In June, they opened up their video store again in Eagle Rock. It's also, they have a 271-seat theater with state-of-the-art picture and sound. They have a little micro theater that you can show movies in as well. I think it's 50 seats, but you can also use it for meetings and pre-production or whatever. There's a bar. They serve beer and wine. It's a film community, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that stuff popping up because people are making their own stuff. I mean,
I've been inspired to make my own stuff.
I shot most of a movie that I got a $2,400 budget on with an iPhone 12 and some GoPros. So
great.
It's people are making movies, and the independent thing is even bigger now than it has been because you don't have to worry about processing film. You can make a movie on your phone.
It's true. It's true. I mean, like I said, I've been inspired myself. I've made 3 documentaries here on my channel. They're not full length, they're 30 to 40 minutes long, but they're actual documentaries. I've made them here on my channel with people talking about the stuff. Like you can do it. It's out there. That is one of my goals to make my own film, so I've been working on it, and that's why I'm working on another documentary now. And I do think there is a hunger and want for this type of stuff, and that people are out there getting into it and making it. And like you said, we do need that sort of gray area back. And I mean, when are they going to learn? Like, you're making these $300-400 million movies, and they're not making their money back. You're losing. Eventually, you're going to have to take a chance, maybe give somebody like $15 million or $20 million or even less, and say, make something.
And they're going to make a Godzilla -2.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like I was reading about the Joker. Like, I liked the Joker movie. I did. I enjoyed it, and it was a lower budget. I mean, still, like, it was like $60 million, I think. Now they were talking about the new one, which I don't think it needs a sequel, and it's $200 million budget. It's just like, that makes me sad. Yeah. Because you're missing the point of what you did the first time around.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand budgets going up for sequels because people want, you know, it was successful. They want their payday, but also there are ways to pay people without exploding the budget by giving them back end, by giving them points. You know, let them earn their money on the back end the way that the studios made money in the first place. I just think that people are throwing around too much money for no reason, and they're not throwing it at me.
Well, if I had it, I'd throw it at you, because it sounds like you could make some pretty cool movies.
How much money do you got in your pocket right now? I'll take it.
I'd make a movie with it.
And that's the joke. Yeah, I would make. Bruce Campbell actually, he said, how many movies, the last time I talked to him, he said, how many movies did you make this week? I told him 5.
Weisenheimer.
He's a Weisenheimer.
Sure.
But yeah, that's like, I mean, the goal with modern classic pictures is to start a revolution.
Yes. Revolution.
Like Prince.
Yeah. If there is indeed going to be an independent film renaissance, we plan on being in the, at least if not the leader, we'll be in the vanguard.
Yeah.
We'll be out there making it happen.
Like I said, I'm going to help you guys out any way I can. I will let people know. You know, hopefully this interview does good on my channel and people see it. And the links for your Indiegogo will be in the description below, so when people see it and all that.
Greg,
so they
do you have a rich aunt?
No. But don't worry, I'll contribute to the campaign and stuff. So don't worry about that.
You're our rich aunt?
Take an army to defeat these aliens. Take an army.
Don't worry. Yeah, that's like my channel is all about, like, stuff like this. And so, like, I've built up a pretty decent community of people that like stuff like this, and like I like. So hopefully I'll share, they'll share, and it will build for you guys.
Midwest, man, the Midwest folk love these kinds of movies. I found the fan base for these movies are, well, they're everywhere, but I was actually contemplating the fact that I have old video cameras. Like, maybe I should do something on those, like a lo-fi something. And I remember this guy I used to know. I don't know him anymore. His name is Mike Stanley, and he lives in St. Clair Shore. I'm pretty sure he still lives in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And he was making those SOV, you know, shot on video movies. He's always the lead. They're usually a zombie or a serial killer, and he's pumped out. And good on Mike. He's pumped out several. And I think the last thing I was looking at is IMDb this morning, and he might, I don't know if he made it. I didn't look very closely, but he might have made a documentary about himself, or someone made a documentary about his DIY, you know, do yourself, shot on video movies. And they're all feature length. He's done some shorts too, but they're all feature length. He's got a series of zombie movies, Dead on Dead, or Dead Isn't Dead, or something like that. And there's 3 of them. You know, he's made sequels to his own movies, and he was one of those guys that was just like, he did an anthology like Tales from the Crypt for public access, and he's just one of those guys that no one's given him a plug nickel. No one's giving him a dime. He's done it all himself. and
self-made.
Yeah, and they're charming. I think he's gotten some on some video store shelves, but because I went down the shot on video rabbit hole today, and there's quite a following for those, even those movies.
There is. I've actually I bought a few of those myself. The Blu-rays, like the Linnea Quigley. It was shot on video. I can't remember it. Scream Queen, starring Linnea Quigley. That was shot on video.
Linnea's in the Gunner doc.
Oh yes, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I love Linnea Quigley. Big fan of hers. Ever since kid. I think we all know why.
Do you have her horror workout video?
Yes, I do. I got the new Blu-ray of that. Yes.
So my buddy Ken Hall directed that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So you got the Terror Vision.
Yeah, the Terror Vision one, yeah. With the slipcase and everything.
Terror Vision's the company that's doing good Blu-ray releases. A lot of the classic shot on video movies that are like the WNUF Halloween special, which is
that too.
Pure classic.
I love it.
I want to see the sequel. I didn't know there was a sequel.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sequel yet. Yeah.
But you know, there's even those I think have a place, and it's probably Tubi where they should live, because Tubi's great. I was looking at some of those SOV movies today, trailers and stuff, and you know, again, I'm rambling, but there's I think the low budget, moderate budget model, the gray area, needs to come back.
Yeah,
they didn't make $100 million movies in the 80s. I think the part of it, the greed and just the over expenditure. You can pare these things down.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was a $20 million movie. Now, granted, that was 1980 when they made it, and inflation and things like that, but it was an independent movie.
Right.
George Lucas was like, here's $20 million. Go.
Yeah.
You know? And why can't we do that again? Why do we need $250 million from, you know, Sony, who also wants the Pepsi logos and the Wheaties boxes,
right?
All this product placement. And of course, I'm not saying anything about product placement because James is a big fan of it. And if it's appropriate, and it generates, you know, revenue for both parties, for the movie, it helps the movie and it helps them, I'm all for it. Just as long as it's not like, we're in trouble. What do we do? Well, we better drink LaCroix.
Pepsi, the new generation.
Exactly. I draw the line there, but
putting LaCroix on the list. LaCroix. Reach out.
Hey, you know what?
We treat our product placement the same way we treat our nudity. As long as it's appropriate, it's in.
I mean, Madam Web could have benefited from that. Just saying. I mean, you got Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson. I mean, nobody's there to watch their acting.
Greg, I will challenge you with this. Madam Web couldn't have improved anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
All the nudity you want in that movie. I guarantee you. And I haven't even seen it yet.
Neither have I.
I know people who worked on it, and they say hot garbage.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, at least it would have gave something for the dudes that had to just slog it through, you know. But you're right; it doesn't necessarily save everything. There's some movies where it's like, I really didn't need to see those because that movie sucked.
Yeah. It could have benefited from a little more of that full moon magic.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Would that full moon magic be something that has to do with like evil bong?
Maybe.
How many evil bongs are there? 9?
Yeah, I think or was it Infinity? Was the 8th one? Maybe there's 8 of them. I don't know.
Well, there's also some crossovers. I know Ginger Dead Man and Evil Bong had a couple of team ups. You know, in the Full Moon cinematic universe. Yeah.
I mean, I've become friends with Brooks Davis. I don't know if you know him. He works at Full Moon. He did.
Does he write books too?
I don't know. He might. I don't know. I know he just did Bring Her to Me, and he did Ginger Weed Man. And the stories he had from Ginger Weed Man with the woman that had with the puppet, that they had a sex scene with the puppet, was insane. How he got through that day, I don't know. But yeah.
The behind the scenes of all 4 days that they shot.
Brooks is a good guy though. But no, I'm like, this because you guys are like, I'm loving this, and I'm like I said, I'm really looking forward to Rednecks vs. Aliens. I'm looking forward to My Dinner with Leatherface. As soon as that was announced, I was like, oh, I gotta see that because that's great. But where do I want to go here with this? I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It's just, I'm trying to just think here because I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say and what you guys got planned for this venture of your films and stuff you want to put out there.
Modern classic pictures. We hope in the grand scheme of things will become a studio that independent filmmakers can come to. Now we can't make all the movies ourselves. A place where independent filmmakers can come to and get real budgets, not overblown budgets, but budgets that are moderate and modest enough to make a decent movie with minimal blood, sweat, and tears. As far as when you make these like micro budget movies, you have no crew. The last few movies I've made, I've had very minimal crew, and I've had some help, but there are days where I'm the guy. I'm running sound, I'm shooting, I'm directing, I'm driving people around. Like it gets difficult, and you don't need to. That's not how movies were made back in the day, and that's how movies shouldn't be made. It shouldn't be a one-man band. It is a collaborative effort. We want to have our own studio. We want to make our own things, and we want to be part of the machine, the good part of the machine that is pumping out quality product that has a fan base and is unique and different. I mean, not everything can be unique, but tell stories that people like,
right?
And not the cookie cutter. We'll keep making these same types of movies until people get sick of them, and it looks like people are starting to finally get sick of them. We want to tell stories of types of movies that we grew up with, and that they don't have to be a IP. They can be an actual original idea, or Edgar Allan Poe in space, or whatever.
It'd be
taking
awesome.
risks. We want to take some risks too. We want to crush genres. I have a lot of movies that don't fit in the Hollywood box.
Right.
They bend genre quite a bit. My trailer park movie with all the Universal monsters. Like, what studio is going to make that?
I would love to see that.
It's a John Waters movie with Universal monsters.
Now you got me. That's got to be made. That's got to be made.
Dude, we've pitched so many ideas that are just waiting to be made. And if we have the opportunity to greenlight our own projects and other people's projects, or just bring a director on and say, hey, pick a script and we'll find the budget. I mean, the bottom line is if you're smart about it, you can scale any production. If you only have $100,000 to shoot something, then you shoot a script that you can do for $100,000. You don't try to shoehorn it. And having said that, what we are doing is leveraging the 30 plus of years of experience of each of us bring to it, including Eric in cinematography and effects, including Andrew Clement, who is been doing effects forever. Leveraging what we know about setting up a machine that can produce the best product, having everything from concept to delivery. We have the capability to do that. We have the people that can put that together, and then it gives us the ability to say, we can take a look at a script. We can go, we could shoot this for 500,000, or we could shoot this for 2 million or whatever. Run with it. And if we can get, and the other brilliant thing about crowdfunding then is it's like, we're doing this for an audience. We already know what they want. So that's half of the battle. That's a lot of the issues that studios are having right now is they're not putting out what the public wants. They're putting out what they feel like the public needs or should be watching, which obviously is not the case.
Yeah, that's true. It would be the flop. So,
and even early on, when I was first putting packages together, even before internet, when I was going to the library and pulling out old issues of Variety and Microfiche and making copies of them to put together concept books and pitch books, back in the olden days, even then. We were all talking about reverse engineering and figuring out what the market wanted before deciding what we're going to make.
What's a library? Microfiche, what? Are those just small little aquatic things?
We'll Google it later.
A library?
But this just takes it one step further and says, you know what, we like almost in real time, like what does our audience want to see? I mean, for us, it's a little bit easier getting started out because, again, we are the audience, so we already know what we want to see. So it's just a matter of fine tuning things. It would be great to get to a point where we can give our backers a choice of 5 scripts and go like, here's a synopsis for 5 different projects. Which one should we do next? And we've already figured out the budgets for each one, so we need 500,000 to make this one, or we need 1.2 million to make this one. There's a lot of different ways that we can go. And that's part of the excitement for us. I mean, my favorite thing is making movies. And if I can build a factory that does nothing but make movies, then I will probably die on that factory floor a happy man.
No. Hey, well, I mean, that's a good goal. And I will say this, you can consider me your first fan. I get t-shirts, #1 first fan, because it starts here. I'll be your #1 first, just like the guy that whatever it was named Patrick something, who saw Star Wars for the first time before anybody else. #1 fan. I'm your #1 fan. Patrick Reed Johnson, 527 or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
We look forward to having you out on set this fall when we're shooting, and we'll see if we can't get you killed by an alien.
There we go, with the big-breasted woman on top of me.
With a big-breasted woman, yeah.
Roll the beard.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got the beard. But yeah, you can consider me your #1 fan, or your first fan, whatever you want to call it. And I hope this really does succeed for you guys, because I got to say, I'm really, really intrigued into this. This is right up my alley. It sounds like you guys want to make films I want to see and that I have been missing. I mean, like I was saying, I go back and I buy these older genre movies and stuff, and that's where I'm getting my fix, because some I was too young to see. Some of them I went alive in the 60s, so I'm going back and I'm buying these 60s, 70s, 80s stuff, and that's where I'm getting my fix, because I'm not getting it in today's day and age. And I do want new stuff. I do want to see new stuff, original ideals that are sort of paying tribute to these and stuff, and like suitable flesh, like you mentioned. The reason I love that is like that reminds me of From Beyond and Reanimator and Brian Yuzna and all that. That's what's so great about it. And the fact that I can now set that next to those titles I have in my library. I would love to be able to set Red Next First Aliens to get next to the titles like I have that in my physical media library. So I am very excited for this. And who knows, maybe if I get to make my films down the line, I'll come to your studio and you guys can we'll make a movie together.
We will need a behind the scenes documentarian on the film. In fact, when Mike and I first met, it was on a film, My Name is Bruce, up in Southern Oregon.
I love that movie.
He was the director. He was the director of the behind the scenes movie, which came to be known as The Heart of Darkness. Which you didn't hear from me, but many have said it's better than the actual movie on the A side. You didn't hear that from me, but that's where we met. Was he was doing that documentary.
Did you see the documentary for My Name Is
I
Bruce?
think I did. I think I did when I had the DVD, but I lost the DVD sadly.
You what?
I know that sounds bad, especially as a physical media collector. But when I started updating to like Blu-rays and stuff, I kind of boxed up some stuff, and I may have lost it.
Oh,
but yes,
you effed up, Greg.
I did.
Mainly because of my brilliant performance as the Cave Alien 2 director.
Kind of brilliant. Although it has been said by many other than myself that I'm the actual star of The Heart of Darkness. The behind the scenes making.
That's true. You are in it way too much.
I have to go back and watch it now. Now I'm gonna be on Amazon or somewhere trying to find My Name Is Bruce so I can go back and rewatch this so I can have it again.
It's a hard find.
It is. But that is cool. I mean, I thought you were somebody who knew Bruce Campbell. I thought that.
Have you seen the movie that Bruce produced for me?
What's named the title?
Hatred of a Minute.
No, I've not seen that one. No.
Neither has anybody else. But that's going to come out eventually.
That's again. One more that actually did see it.
That one's coming out through Synapse Films pretty soon.
Oh, that's cool. I'll check that. I'll buy that. But
so then there'll be 5 people.
I will.
There'll be 5 people that have seen
it. You and 3 other people, because the 2 out of the 5 hated it.
That's the best movies, though, right?
That's right. The ones
that know everybody hates are like, I love this movie. Why does everybody hate it?
Hey, I will say this. My boy Tom at Anchor Bay liked my first movie, so he can stay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling, once people get to see Dinner with Leatherface, I've never seen it yet, but I think I have a feeling when people see Dinner with Leatherface and when that comes out and with this, what you guys got planned here, I think it's going to really start steamrolling for you guys. So just don't forget about little old me over here as your number one fan, first
number
fan.
One fan. You're a first fan. How
are we going to forget our number one fan?
You lost your copy of My Name Is Bruce.
I know. I started moving up the Blu-rays and stuff and the 4Ks.
It came out on Blu-ray.
I know, but I had the DVD first, and I meant to upgrade it, and I never.
I don't think there are any other copies in existence either. I think they're not even available anymore.
I think at one point, I'm sure I can find one. Yeah, that's the hard part with physical media collecting. I hate scalpers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find it. I would just hit thrift shops. I'm sure you'll find.
Oh, I do. I go to thrift stores all the time. I've started buying VHSs again, so I was just
awesome.
Yeah. So I have I know you can't see it, but all over here, this whole wall is Blu-rays, 4Ks, VHSs. I got a CRTV, VCR right here. I got my flat. Well, this is just HD, but the 4Ks out in the living room. So.
Wow.
God bless you. God bless you.
Well, now you have something to do tonight. You can watch Mutant Swinger from Mars on Tubi.
There you go. Yep.
If you like 50s and you like silly.
I do. I love 50s movies. I love silly 50s movies and stuff like that, and homages to them. I'm a sucker for homages, like to 50s movies, 80s movies. Like
this movie's going to take you back like a headache flashback. It's going to be. It's going to be
a good one.
Good one, yeah.
And if you enhance the experience, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying.
How many Miller Lights?
It's always good with some suitable enhancement.
That's good. But
there should be a card at the beginning that says that.
That's how you enjoy it.
The following motion picture will be most enjoyed.
Just taking a little medicinal trip,
Oh, everything's good with medicine.
That'd be my kind of theater. That's my kind of theater, where it's just ashtrays in the
that's the home theater. That's the true home theater.
we've gone here for about an hour 15. I mean, if you guys can, if you want to keep going, we can keep going. Or if you have any final words, we can close it out. Whatever you guys want to do.
Well, you have more to say?
Oh, you know me, but
You
not
go
really.
on.
I mean, I don't want to bore the audience to death. I want them to like us, not be like,
Too late for that. Too late for that.
I think they'll like you guys.
10-second clicks to make it look like we're interesting. 10-second clips.
I think they'll like you guys. I do. I think they will.
It's going to be a real choppy video then. No, I think we're good. I urge everyone to watch Mutant Swinger from Mars. I urge everyone to keep their eye out for Dinner with Leatherface. And I urge everyone to sign up for Modern Classic Pictures' upcoming action, science fiction, horror, comedy extravaganza, Rednecks versus Aliens. Become part of the Redneck Rebel Alliance. That's the group name I prefer, because it is a little homage to Star Wars.
We'll see what the group wants.
I like it. I like it. Redneck Rebel Alliance. I like that.
See?
I like
well,
it.
as our number one fan, your opinion does hold weight.
Yes,
I like it. You got to get you like a Redneck Rebel Alliance flag. Put it in the back of the truck.
Yeah, we're already talking patches.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, we're already looking up patches. So
that's going to be one of the extras. Is like the first 150, 200 people to sign up. So,
yeah, there'll be patches, stickers, and patches.
What patch?
Stickers and patches.
Sure.
Well, they can put it on their windshield or
all the stuff, all the things.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think those are great perks for anybody. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us, Greg.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on here. I think my internet's starting to slow down a little bit, so if I'm glitching or if you guys can't hear me, I hope you understand. I don't know why it started glitching on me a little bit.
I can tell you why. It's people are getting home from work finally, and they're going on the internet to watch cat videos.
Cat videos.
I love a cat video.
Yay. Gotta love one. But I do appreciate it. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, James. Like I said, I will have the link in the description down below for everybody to go check out and sign up. I have high hopes for you guys. I think it's going to steamroll for you guys. I really do. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys
God's ears, man. From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, it's going to happen.
Thank you very much, number one fan. We'll have to make it
first and number one fan. Remember.
All right.
Yes, I need one. I need a t-shirt. But everybody out there, if you can hear me, because I know my internet's messing up. Yeah, I know my internet's messing up a little bit here, but thank you for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, share the video out for everybody to see. Join and become a channel member. Check out their link, and let's get this made. Thank you guys, and Godspeed.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.